It is finally time. I'm gonna reduce my chores significantly today. Hey guys, welcome back to another Slightly Rednecked video. Again, my name's Chris. If you're not familiar with this channel, I help you to produce your own meat, eggs, and vegetables from your backyard, your balcony, your deck, your garage, or heck, even a spare room in your house if that's the way you want to do it. And it's finally time to set the automatic watering system back up. Winter's pretty much over. We might get a few days where it gets down into the freezing, but it's not going to stay there long enough to hurt anything. So I'm going to go ahead and set this thing back up and significantly reduce my chores. No more carrying water out here every morning. So it's pretty easy setup. I actually got a whole video on how to build one of these if you need to know how to build the system all the way from scratch. I'll put a link up here, or maybe it's on that side to get backwards every time, but either way, I'll put a link up there. You can go watch that video on how I built this system. But as far as putting it back together, pretty easy. Get the parts out of the bucket here, start setting it up, and we'll see how it goes. Now, I've already cleaned all these tubes up. They had a bunch of algae in them and stuff from last year, but they are going pretty good right now. Looking pretty nice and clean. I don't know, let's see if I can figure this out. A little bit of a rainy day here. It's raining on me, but I need to get this done. So, all right, first things first, I'm going to stick a tube on the outspout here. See if you can still see me on camera. There we go. And we've got a connector that goes in here. And I've got a fairly long one. Let me see if I can figure out which one it is. It's this one right here that goes on here. Now what this is going to do is give me a view of the water level on the bucket itself. It's just going to go straight up and down, so I will be able to see. There we go. As I get water in here, the water level will be visible on this tube right here. So may get rained out. May have to put this on hold and come back because it's starting to pick up. And then the next one is just a, let's see, what do we need? Just a short piece that comes out of here. So, short piece comes out of here. Put another connector on. This is going to allow me to split it off to feed both hutches. Then, let's see. What else do I need? I'm missing a piece. There we go. There's the piece. Ugh. I gotta go get the water cups too. I've forgotten them. There we go. Now this part's gonna go inside the hutch. My water cups are gonna screw right onto here, and I'll show you that here in just 1 minute. The way I hold this on is just a couple pieces of plumber's tape in the back. So it just sits, make sure I get it turned right, where the hose end comes out this way. And then, where's my drill? There it is. Got a couple of screws. Screw that plumber's tape in, and that's going to hold it in place. And I'll bring you in close and show you what that looks like here in just a minute. All right. Now, let me get my hose fish through that's going to go out the side here. This is the tricky part probably, is getting this through the hardware cloth. Hopefully you can kind of see that. It'll fit through there, but boy is it tricky to get in there. It's a tight fit. And then hook it up on the inside. There we go. Whew, I'm a little too short for that. All right, let's move these out of the way. Hook that up so I don't have to worry about them jumping out. And then I've got my irrigation hose here. It's just got a quick connect hose clamp on it, so I can clamp a hose onto it and fill the bucket up pretty easily. So let me get this bucket tied up in the tree. All right, so I guess I was off camera tying this bucket up in the tree, but that's okay. It's just tying a bucket up in a tree. It's nothing spectacular. I just kind of tied a couple of half hitches in it and wrapped it up there so it'd sit kind of level. I've got a little hole drilled in the side of this piece of tubing right here, and I'll string this piece of paracord through and kind of hold it up. That way, because when it gets hot outside, this thing wants to kind of fall off to the side. That'll keep it straight up and down. But if I can get this paracord to string through there, I may have to come back and do that a little bit later. Let's cut me off a straight edge. Actually, I think that's what the one on tied on the side here is for. Oh well, why don't we just do it this way? I'm not going to try to string that through there. It's a little bitty hole. I'll just tie it on to the bucket itself like this. That'll keep it up. All right, now, where's my, oh, this hose right here. So, uh-oh, did I not use the right piece of hose? I don't think I did. I need to move this bucket. It's not close enough. Can't get it on there. Do this a little bit smarter this time. Hook the hose up first, then hang the bucket. That might make it a little bit easier to figure out where it needs to go. And really, this thing doesn't need to be that high in the tree. It just needs to be higher than the water cups are, you know, just to feed the gravity into it. I'm gonna have to tie this up because I can't hold it and hook it up at the same time. There we go. Now I got it all hooked up. I guess it'll work right here, won't it? Let me see if my other hose will fit. I may have to turn this around. That's what I'm probably going to end up having to do. Best laid plans, right? There we go. Got it all backwards, but that's okay. It's going to work just fine. I know you can't see the fill-up tube on the other side, the tall straight one over there, but I'll be able to see it just fine. Got the tops on. We got the other one. All right, now I don't have any birds in here at the moment in this hutch, so what I'm going to end up doing with this one is just bend it over like so. Hopefully you can kind of see that. Just bend it a couple times, put a zip tie on it, and that'll keep the water from leaking out of it until I get some birds in here and I need to add one to there. So I gotta go get the water cups though to fill this up with. All right, well, I got the water cup screwed on. Didn't have the camera going, so you didn't get to see that part, but that's okay. It's just screwing water cups on. Now, again, I'm just gonna, hopefully you can see this in camera. I'm just bending this in kind of an S. I'm gonna put a zip tie around it, and that'll just keep it from leaking until I need to get it set up. Rain's starting to pick up pretty good here. Hopefully I can get this all done before I get rained out. Almost done, so I should be able to. I think that'll be enough. And I'll just loop it up here. That'll make it extra secure. Now, it's time to get this thing filled up, make sure it's not leaking anywhere. Whoops, smacking the camera. These little quick connect hose makes it pretty easy to do. All right, hopefully you can see this. Water level's right about there. That just gives me a visual as how high it is in the bucket. So it's gonna take a minute to fill all the way up, but that's all I'm doing is just watching that level right there. When it gets to the top, I know it's full. All right, hopefully you can see this. It's just a piece of plumber's tape on this side and one on this side right here. And I think the camera's having a hard time focusing on it, but hopefully it shows up, and that just holds it right in place. Now what I am gonna do is push these plungers down, make sure the water's running through because there's air trapped in there. and I'm going to push them and just fill them all the way up so the birds know where to get water. It's been a little while since they've used these. They'll figure it out pretty quick. It doesn't take them very long. And then as they come and drink this water, as they drink it down, now these, if you've never used these cups before, they're not going to hold water in them all the time. They're only going to just a trickle whenever the birds hit that little plunger, and it's just enough for them to drink. So it'll look like there's no water in them, but don't worry, your birds are getting water out of them. I don't see any leaks. I'm going to have to watch, right around these seams where these things screw in. I may have to come back and put some Teflon tape on there to make sure that they don't leak, but right now they're holding water just fine. So I'll take my, I see a little leak right over here, but I can't tell if that's the rain or the watering system leaking. I'll figure it out in the next day or two, and I'll tighten it up where I need to or whatever, but right now it looks like it's holding up pretty well. So now I'm going to go ahead and just take their watering bucket out of here. They don't need it anymore. All right, so I will watch them for a couple of days, make sure that they are getting plenty of water. I'll know when I come out, because when I come out to feed and stuff, if those water cups are empty, I'll hit that plunger, fill it up with water, and if they come rushing to the water and drinking out of it, I know they're not getting enough water. I may have to put their water bucket back in there for a day or two, but generally they figure it out like that, and they flock to it and they get plenty of water. Rain's starting to come down pretty good. I got the rabbit system still to put up, but I'm not sure I'll get that done today because I got to run to the parts store, and I think the rain's set in for the next day or two, so we'll see. Well, I was right, it did set in the rain yesterday afternoon, but hey, we got a little bit of a break this morning from the rain, so I'm going to try to get the rabbits' watering system set up. We've got a little bit of a problem. I have to replace the little nylon bulbs, or excuse me, nylon hose barbs, there we go, that, the splitters, and I'm using 5/16 hose on my rabbit hutch because that's what the little water nipples that they drink out of fit on. But they don't carry 5/16 locally anymore. I'd have to order them in online. So I got 3/8 inch. It's a little big, but I think I can make it work. I think I can make the hose fit over it tight enough it's not gonna leak. We're gonna find out as I go through this process. All right, so first things first, I need to figure out which hoses are which. I took it all apart to clean it out, and I don't have them marked, so I gotta remember which one's which. I believe I've got several of these little short ones. So these are the ones that go down to the rabbit hutch themselves. And these are the, let me show you real quick. These are the water nipples that I use. And again, if you need directions on how to build this thing from scratch, I'll put a link up here, there, one of the sides anyway, to a video where I showed you how to build this thing all the way from scratch. But these work pretty good. Here's what I will say is get more of these than you need. They wear out, and you can fix them, but it's easy enough just to toss them and put another one on there. So let me dig these out real quick. I'll get them set up on the rabbit hutches. They come with little, let me get it out of here, little springs. Show you how this works. You just fish it through the side, which is not really too hard to do, but it always seems to be a little tricky when you want it. There we go. Fishes through the side, and then it just hooks onto the cage. So this side hooks on, and then the spring hooks on the other side and holds it on. Make sure you always put it with the barb, or the cup side down. The rabbits need to be able to bite on it in order to get water out of it. So hopefully that makes sense, facing like that into the cage. And then there's not too much to it, but just stick it on the cage. There we go. And now I've got to work out where the rest of these hoses go. So they shouldn't be too tough to figure out. These go between the hutches, between the cages. So I think this one's going to go right here. And this one here is my end piece that will go on the end. It's just, again, folded over and zip tied off so that water doesn't leak out the end. So I know where that one goes. That's pretty easy. Let's see. This one probably goes right there. Maybe. Is there a longer one? That's a long one. Let's see. This one goes right here, and this one goes on the end. So let me grab a hose barb and I'll just go ahead and hook up that one on the end. Okay, this is what I'm talking about with my hose barbs being too big. You can see it's just not a good fit, but a little bit of brute force and I should be able to get it on there. Not all the way, but close enough. I think it's going to work out. All right, which one goes where? That one goes here, or let's do this one. Definitely easier with the right size hose barbs. This is going to be the one that feeds back to the bucket in the back. Now it's just a matter of getting the bucket hung up and getting it all hooked up to the bucket. Luckily, I do have a couple of the right size hose barbs here, so the rest of this should go pretty easily. All right, it is all set up. So let me get it filled up with some water. I'll walk you around. I'll show you a little bit closer what it looks like. So I always start at the last cage here, make sure that yeah, there's no water coming out of there. So I'm gonna just pop this hose off here and work my way back a little bit. Here comes the water. Let it run through, get some of the air bubbles out of there. You can kind of see them working down through there. And that's probably good. And then we should get water. Yep, got water coming out of it. So pretty simple setup, you know, just a zip tie on the end to hold the water in, a couple of you know, nylon hose barb tees to split the hose off. It looks like these big hose barbs are working. A little bit of a pain to get on there, but they worked. So let's move over to the next cage here. Now I don't know if you can see this, but there is air in the line right there. So I'm gonna pop this hose off, let that run for a second. You get some of the air bubbles out. Get back, little bunny. Yeah. Now she should, and she does know how to drink out of it. You can see she just went right to it and started drinking. If you've got a rabbit that's never used these water valves before, you're gonna have to kind of train them to drink out of them. And the easiest way I've found to do that is take their water away, which we don't need the bowl anymore. She'll teach the babies how to drink out of it just fine. Okay, so back to what I was saying here. If you've got a rabbit that's never drank out of these before, you do have to train them to drink out of them a little bit. And what I've found is usually you push on that, they'll come up and lick the water off of it, you know, when they're thirsty. And then all you've got to do is, you know, push on that a few times, let her come up, lick the water off of that, take it off the cage and hold it back just a little bit from the cage where she can't quite get to it, and she'll end up biting onto it to pull it back into the cage. And when she bites onto it, it'll release water. And that's usually how they figure out. Now again, with her, with the babies in here, I don't have to worry about them. She knows how to use it. She's used it before. So she'll be drinking out of it. The babies will learn just by watching her, and they'll come up and they'll get their drinks out of here just fine. So if we put, you know, a little bit of water coming out of there, they may come up and start drinking out of it right now, but they had water in their bowl, so they're probably not too thirsty right at the moment. All right. Working my way back, just test the valve because this one doesn't have any air in the lines. It's working, water's coming out of it, no problem. And back here to the buck's cage, let's see how he's doing. Yeah, it works just fine. Got a little bit of a leak right there. If I can push that hose on there a little bit further, maybe that'll keep that from leaking. I'll watch that. I may have to replace that valve. Watch out, buddy. You don't need this water bowl anymore. There you go. Go, 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 go. Now, I will say you do need to watch your rabbits for a couple of days. Come out here when you feed or whatever, push that valve a little bit, let some water come out. If they run up to it and just lick it up as fast as you can push it out of there, that means they're not getting enough water. You may have to put some water back in a bowl or whatever, but again, you know, train them how to use the water nipples. Once they figure it out, it's no problem whatsoever. Again, saving myself a ton of time on chores. No more having to carry water out here to the rabbits or to the quail. Just come out, feed in the mornings, and all is good. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. And as always, God bless.